I got.
You get stuck on a chair.
Oh my.
Get out. Okay, I got this. Well, okay, good.
I can't see your con.
You're right. You're so right. And you keep my confidence.
That's like a hazard. What if you died from that?
Okay, anyways, so we're gonna take our triangle and this should match exactly the same as your website, okay? And now what we're gonna do, the first rotation that we're gonna talk about is 90 degrees because it says we're gonna rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. Counterclockwise is actually to the left. It's not the same direction as a clock. We're gonna go to the left. The website will only do counterclockwise. So if you're curious, this link is in Canvas under 4.3. So we're going to take this and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So take your little green scroll bar and we're going to scoot it over to 90 degrees. And you should, what's up? So we cannot use it on the test, but you should be able to recognize, like, it's basically going to give you two pictures and it's going to say like, how much did it rotate? After using this a couple times, you should be able to recognize 90 degrees versus 180 degrees versus 270 because there's only 3 rotations. So you need to recognize like how it moved. So this is like an introductory. You're not going to be able to use this on the EOC, but it'll help you understand like what it's going to do because a lot of people struggle with like the rotations. So we're going to change it to 90 degrees. 90 degrees, if you think about a circle is 360 if you go all the way around. If you go half of a circle, that's 180. Half of 180 is 90. So they're always going to use 3 options. They're going to say 90, 180, and 270. So basically for each 90 degree angle, it's moving 1 quadrant. So I'm going from here 1 quadrant to the left because I'm going counterclockwise because 90 is the smallest option. So I'm going to plot the points on my graph to match what is on your little image that you have. So you're going 90 degrees. So take a second, you're going to make sure your graph looks like what is on the website. I'm going to shade in my little triangle just so you can kind of see like where I'm going. So it's spinning around 0, 0. So I moved from this quadrant over 1 because 90 degrees means you're moving 1 quadrant. We're going to have to figure out which points are which points. So the only bad thing about the website is it doesn't label it for you. So X was at, or let's do the first one, V. V was at 4, 1. Where is V at now? -1, 4. So I'm going to put V prime right there. So -1, 4. X, or no, the next one is W. W was at 2, 4. W is up here. Where's W now? Perfect. So W prime's out front. So -4, 2. And then the last one, which is V, was at 2, 0. Now it's at 0, 2. So we're going to look at the numbers and we're going to compare our X and Y, the original, to the new X and Y. Does anybody see what happened with these numbers? Because the numbers are the same, they just look a little different. They flip, so X becomes Y and Y becomes X, and then only one of them became negative. Did the front or the back become negative? Well, the back became negative, and now it's the front. So I'm going to put the negative in the front with the Y. So our rule for 90 degrees counterclockwise, which means moving 1 quadrant to the left, so 90 degrees counterclockwise, clockwise, is -YX. This rule also, if you wanted to go clockwise, normally you don't go clockwise, but it would have to say specifically that you're moving clockwise. Okay. You can, but this would be a terrible class to take pictures of because there's literally like 6 kids in this class. But if you want to, you can. Okay. So this is going to be the same rule as going 270 degrees clockwise. So on the website, you can't go clockwise at all. But if you think about it, if you started here and you're moving 90 degrees counterclockwise, you end up here because it's one quadrant. If you move clockwise, you would have to move 3 quadrants. You would have to go 1, 2, and 3. So these are going to overlap. Both of these rules are going to be the same. So 90 degrees counterclockwise is the same as 270 clockwise. The next one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 180 degrees counterclockwise. So what I want you to do on your graph, you're going to take your little rotate button and you're going to go back to 0. Okay. Take it back to the beginning. And this triangle looks different from the triangle that was for number 1. So we're going to change the original coordinate points to match number 2. So one of the coordinate points is at 0, 3. So I'm going to move that there. One of them's at, it looks like 3, 4, maybe 3, 4. And then the last one's at 4, 2. So make your triangle look, because if you know how to use this, you can like cheat. Is there blue circles in the middle at 0, 0? Oh, okay. Because you're like, are you using the touchscreen thing? So
Yeah. It just wasn't showing.
yeah, try not to like zoom in, zoom out. You can zoom in and zoom out on this graph, but it's gonna like do something crazy. Okay, so once you have your triangle, we're gonna go 180 degrees counterclockwise. We're still going to the left because you're always gonna go to the left unless it specifically says clockwise, but it's always gonna say counterclockwise. So we're gonna change our rotation. Right now it's at 0, meaning it has not moved. I'm gonna go 180 degrees. 180 degrees is 90 degrees twice. So you're moving 2 quadrants. So move it to 180, that would be 90. 90 moves it once. 180 is going to move it twice. Where's your phone? Okay. 180. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, there we go. So if I have to scroll down because I need to like show you the paper too. It's flipping all the way around because it moves. This would be 90 degrees over here. Now it's 180 because 90 and 180 is 90 twice. So it moves 2 quadrants. So take a second. You're going to graph the same exact shape down here. So you have 0, -3. That is going to be H. So that's H prime. One of them's at -4, -2. And one of them's at -3, -4, -3, -4. So do we know which ones are which? Which one is this bottom one? Is that I or is that J? That is I. So this is I prime. And this one would have to be J prime. So take a second. We're going to connect our dots. We're going to make the triangle. Bless you. And then I'm going to shade it in a little bit, just so you can see where you're going. And then we're going to write the coordinate points in our T-chart. So H was 0, 3. H prime is now down here. So now it is 0, -3. I is 3, 4. Now it's going to be -3, -4. J is negative, it was 4, 2. Now it's -4, -2. So if you're looking at your coordinate points and you're just comparing the numbers, what happened whenever it's 180? They just all change to negative. So X and Y stay exactly the same. They don't switch. The only thing is they change to negative. Now, if they were negative, they would become positive because 2 negatives would make a positive. Yeah. So 180 works for 180 degrees clockwise and counterclockwise. So the rule is the same for 180 each direction because you can go 2 quadrants to the left or 2 quadrants to the right, and you're going to end up no matter what in this bottom quadrant. Okay, last one we're using the online thing for, unless you want to use it for your homework, which is like, you can totally use for your homework. The last one is example 3. We're going to start by making our rotation back to 0. Boop. Make your rotation 0. We're going to make this little cute little triangle right here. Why are you having such issues? and then click that middle box, so that way all 3 boxes are clicked. Okay, so the third image is like this little baby triangle, so 4, 1 is one of the points. 4, 1. One of the points is 4, 3. 4, 1, 2, 3. And then one of them is 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this triangle, this little baby triangle, we're going to do one last rotation with it. It's going to rotate 270 degrees counterclockwise. We're still going to the left because it's counterclockwise. Boop. So 270, we're going to go to the left, 270. So with your little green scroll bar, we're going 270 degrees. So 90 degrees is going to take you to the first corner. 180 is going to take you down below, completely across from you. I wonder if I can like show you both. And then 270 is going to take you to the third quadrant down there. Because 270 is 90 plus 90 plus 90. So it moved 3 times. So it moved once, twice, third. So you have a point at 1, -4. You have a point at 3, -4. And you have a point at 2, -3. 2. So we don't know which points are which points. If you watch the way it wrote, W would be right here. Okay, because it's closest to the origin. This point right here, if you watched it spin, this is gonna lead the way. It's gonna like go, so it's still gonna like lead the way. So this one is this one, which is X. So X prime is right here. And then Y prime around is Y prime. Okay, so once you label them, the first one was W. W was at 3, 2. W now is at 2, -3. X was at 4, 3. X is now at 3, -4. And Y was at 4, 1. Now it's at 1, -4. So 2 things happened to this. They flipped, and then the X became negative, which is the new Y. So the one in the back makes it negative. This works for 2 things. You could go 270 counterclockwise. So you could go 1, 2, 3, or you could go clockwise only once. So this is the same rule for 270 degrees counterclockwise. It's also the same rule for 90 degrees clockwise. Because if I go clockwise to the right, I only have to move once. If I have to go to the left, counterclockwise, I have to move 3. That's why it's 270. So what we're going to do is we're going to write the rules. So for 90 degrees counterclockwise, we said from before, that was the first one we did. The rule was -YX. For 180 degrees, it just makes X and Y negative. You don't have to flip it. For 270 degrees counterclockwise, you have to flip it. And you have to make the X negative in the back. What would happen if it's 360? It's the same. So it stays as X and Y. So now we're going to do it without the graph. We're just going to change the coordinate points without using this. I would keep this up on your computer because you can use it for your homework. And you can literally just do the problems on your, like.
Wait, so 4, X, 6.
Because this one's 270. Yeah, that's correct. So for 270 degrees, your rule is Y, -X. If A was 4, 6, all you're doing is you're flipping the coordinate. So it's 6, 4, and the back becomes negative. So I have to make my 4 negative. Then it becomes positive. So for B, it was -5, 2. I have to flip it to make 2, -5. But the back has to change its symbol. So because it's negative and it's already negative, this is where it becomes positive. So you can either make it into a plus sign. If you're using a pen, you could literally just make it a plus sign, or you can erase the negative, but it turned positive. For C, C was 0, -12. I have to flip it to make -12, 0. And then the back becomes negative. Is 0 negative though? No, you just leave it because 0 is not negative or positive. So we're gonna do one more together and then you guys can try one. So we're gonna do 90 degrees counterclockwise. 90 degrees counterclockwise, the rule is negative yx. So if D is 4, 6, negative 6, 4. Perfect. And then if it was negative 5, 2, negative 2, negative 5. Good job. Last but not least, if I flip it and I switch the front, what is it going to be? 12, 0. That's correct. So take a minute, try number 3. See if you can figure out number 3. Okay, so what's M? Yeah. So M should be negative 4, negative 6. Good. What's N? 5, negative 2, and then P 0, 12. So that is easy. On the back, you can use the website. The website will help you. Okay. Or you can use the rules. If you want to write out the coordinates, you can write out the coordinates. But for like number 4, if you want to write out the coordinate, you could like write out Q was, I don't know, at 1, negative 1, R was at 3, 0, and S was at 4, negative 4. You could use the rule and just change it using the math, or you can use the website and just rotate it 90 degrees and it'll do it for you. Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, feel free to use the website if you want. Either way, you need to write out your coordinate points and plot them on the graph. Yeah, for 8 and 9, they give you the graphs. You just need to write out like 90 degrees counterclockwise or 180 degrees counterclockwise and 270 degrees counterclockwise. The website, though, will help you in